How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to That Car Vlog channel. If you don't know already, my name is Andy, and today's vehicle is somewhat of a repeat, more of a follow-up really. This is a 2023 Ford F-250 Lariat with the Tremor package. Now, if you follow the channel, you know a few weeks ago I posted a video of a brand new F-250 Lariat, but it was just an F-250 Lariat. It didn't have any kind of special off-road package. Today we're doing a follow-up video and we're taking a look at this Tremor version of the F-250 Lariat. So like I said a second ago, a few weeks ago I did do a full video of a regular F-250 Lariat 2023 model, and that video was a full review, inside outside tour, driving experience, the works. This video is not going to be quite as much. First I'll take you guys around the inside outside, show you the highlights and what I think are worth mentioning no matter which version of the truck you're reviewing. Then we'll talk about what makes this thing a Tremor, and then we'll get this one out on the road and we'll see how it drives. Spoiler alert, this thing's got a different engine than the last one I reviewed too. Special thanks as always to Ted Russell Ford of Knoxville, Tennessee for providing the vehicle for today's review. I borrowed this truck from their Parkside Drive location. They do have 2 stores here in Knoxville, Tennessee with a great selection of new and used vehicles. Once you're done watching the video, make sure you go down into the description, check for a link to their website where you can view their inventory and, as of the filming of this video, this truck right here. I'll start with the outside tour light. Now, once again, like I said, I've already done a full review, so I'll just point out some of the highlights of this truck, but I'll still take you around and let you see the exterior of the truck. So here we got the same exterior front end design as the regular Lariat that I reviewed. This one has the black package, so it has the black grille. It does not have the chrome package, which I think is a really good looking truck. Your exterior color on this particular model is carbonized gray metallic, and it's actually a really nice gray color on this truck. Come down here looking at these wheels. Now, these are 18-inch wheels. The one I reviewed before had 20-inch wheels. These are smaller wheels, but you do have bigger tires. If we get down here close, you can see you've got 285, 75, 18s. These are some much more aggressive Goodyear Wrangler tires compared to the tires that come on your standard F-250. Come down side here, you're gonna see the updated F-250 badge again. You do not have the updated Power Stroke badge on this model because this may not be a Power Stroke. Once again, you see the new for 2023 side steps in the bed. Very nice addition, very handy. Although with the increased ride height of the Tremor, it is definitely still a climb to pull yourself up on these things. Once again here, check out the clearance in this wheel well. This truck is slightly lifted above your standard F-250, and then they put the big tires on it. So this thing actually sits maybe a couple inches taller than your standard F-250 of this generation. As we make our way to the rear, you do have the bumper steps that Ford added for the 2023 model year. Here's your tow package right here. Here's your integrated 7 and 4 pin connectors right there above that. One option that you can get that's not present on this particular model, there is a kick down step that mounts right here because, like I said, this is still a pretty high climb even with the bumper steps. So you can add a drop down step below here that'll make it a little bit easier to climb up there, kind of a 1-2 step up into the back of the truck. Right here on the tailgate, you still got that nice LED puddle light. Here's your backup cam. Hit this button and your tailgate drops down. And you can see you do still have the step in the tailgate right here that you want on all your Ford trucks, especially Super Duty. Believe it or not, this thing is optional. That should be standard all the time. Looking here, this particular truck is optioned from the factory with the Tough Bed Spray and Bed Liner. That's a nice touch. Up in the bed of the truck now, using the handy dandy tailgate step, you can see you got these plugs here in the bed floor. That's because this truck is equipped with the optional 5th wheel / gooseneck prep package. So these plugs are actually filling holes that you're going to use to attach a 5th wheel hitch or a gooseneck hitch ball. So definitely, if you're planning on doing some heavy towing with this truck, definitely get this package because it comes all ready to set up your 5th wheel or your gooseneck. It already comes with the cross member framing underneath the bed. Of course, you get plenty of tie downs. You get these ones here that are built for Ford accessories. With that prep package, you're going to get your 7-pin connector in the bed here. Over on the passenger side, you open this up, you do get a couple of 120 volt house type plugs in there. Now, we can't talk about a Ford Super Duty without talking about towing capabilities. Now, of course, your F-Series trucks are capable of pulling a lot of weight. Now, if you do option your F-250 with 6.7 Power Stroke diesel, then you've got a max towing capability right in the neighborhood of 23,000 pounds, properly equipped. However, this version is equipped with a 7.3 liter Godzilla gasoline engine. With this configuration, properly equipped, your 7.3 F-250 will tow up to about 17,002. So it's still not a weakling. Now, I don't know if the Tremor modifications are going to cut down on that towing capacity any, but if you are looking to equip your F-250 with the 7.3 17.2 is right about where you're gonna be as far as max tow. All right, let's jump inside now and do a quick overview of the interior. The first thing you're gonna open up to is this nice door card. You got some decent looking sort of wood trim right there. And here's your speaker grill showing you that you do have the Bang & Olufsen, the B&O sound system. And I've played with this system but in both trucks I've reviewed so far, and this is a good sounding system. Obviously I can't demonstrate that here on YouTube. Now I'm not gonna go through all the controls like I did in the other video, but a couple things to point out. Right here you got the buttons to turn on the lights on your side view mirrors. That way if you wanna see at night next to the truck you can. Here's the button to put down your rear tailgate, push it twice. All right, now that we're inside right here, looking, here's a view of your new steering wheel. Here's all your different controls. This side's got your volume controls, voice commands, cruise control, as well as adaptive cruise control, and lane keeping assist. Over here's the buttons you're gonna use for phone, audio skipping, and the buttons here you're gonna use to control the menus in your gauge cluster screen. Here is your optional 12-inch gauge cluster screen. Now I do like this screen, it's pretty nice. It's somewhat configurable. You can decide what you want to see in these two center gauges up top. There's a few more options that you can select. It's not insanely configurable, but it does have some level of configuration to it. Over here in the center is your optional 12-inch infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as well as a host of other features. Two of which I like are, first of all, the bed camera. We'll go ahead and select that and turn it on. And here you get a nice view into the bed. Now you can pull this up full size in the camera menus, but if you just need a quick glance on the screen but you want your nav up, you still got that. The other thing I really like right here is your zone lighting. I will turn that on, turn on all zones, and this is going to turn on your lights on the front nose of the truck, that light on the tailgate, and of course your side mirror lights to light up all around you. Choose which zones you want to turn on and off, or of course all zones on or off. Go up here, you get your Pro Power on board for those plugs in the back and to tell you how much power you're drawing. And up here, this one off-road is going to show you your pitch and roll, as well as your steering wheel angle right here. See that as I turn the wheel, it kind of shows how far I'm turning the wheel. So you definitely get a few cool features right here in the screen. And we can of course go back over here to navigation and you got the full thing right there. Or we go over to audio and there's what's playing. Also left above that, you push this camera button and you get all kinds of different views. Here's your top down view, here's your front view. Push the button right here and you get all your different choices right here, including right here a better view of the bed camera. So you can see what's in your bed, get that center line for lining up that gooseneck or fifth wheel. And once again, if you want to keep an eye on the things in your bed, make sure they're not bouncing around or falling out. Handy piece of equipment right here. And of course, you get plenty of charging in this truck. You get a wireless charging pad here, a couple of USBs right here, cell phone slot right here. You can put your cell phone and run a cord through. 2 cup holders, 4 cup holders. Get your big center console right here. A little bit more charging down there, a couple of USB-Cs, little storage tray right there, and cup holders on the back. Even more charging right here. You get another household type plug and a 12-volt round, and you get 2 dual glove boxes. Coming back over, here's your climate controls with heated and cooled seats and heated steering wheel, dual zone as well. And over here is your integrated trailer brake controller and your drive mode selector, as well as the buttons to select your four-wheel drive and your locking rear diff. Speaking of those drive modes, let's look at the gauge screen as we turn through those. So right now we're going to start out in eco mode, and you're going to see the screen change as I turn the mode. So right now, once again, here's eco mode. We're going to turn over into tow haul mode, and here's a little trailer that gets hitched up. Over here's your normal mode. If you're just cruising along or driving through town, you don't need to be too economical. Click again, you get slippery roads mode for the rain and the snow. Click one more time and you get here off-road mode. And then, because this is the Tremor, you get one more mode, and that's rock crawl mode. And you're going to see a button right here in the middle of the drive mode selector. That is for your trail turn assist. So what this does is if you're out on the trails and you're in four-wheel drive, you need to make a really hard turn, and you'd have to make a 3 or 4 or 6 or 10 point turn, especially in the truck this long. Hit this button and it's going to actually apply the brake and lock up the wheel on the inside of your turn. So say you're making a hard right turn, it's going to lock up that wheel back there to make it easier for this thing to pivot pretty much on that wheel and more easily make that sharp turn. Also new in the interior for 2023, and I doubt the camera's going to do it justice, is this heads-up display. And like I said, I covered this in the last video in more detail, but this is a great heads-up display. I really like this thing. It's very vivid. It's very clear in front of you. It features plenty of different options for what you want to see, especially if you're off-roading. You can get your pitch and roll and stuff there as well. Up here on the ceiling, you can see they've got the optional upfitter switches like was introduced when the first Raptor came out. Love these things. These are wired in, ready for you to hook up whatever you need to, whether it's off-road lights or a winch or whatever. You got the switches right here to wire that into. Love these things, and they're just very satisfying to click. Stepping into the rear of the truck now. Now you get a ton of room in the back of these big full size, especially these Super Duty trucks. I mean, there's a lot of room back here. It's a very comfortable place to be if you're an adult. Of course, on the back of the console, you get more climate vents, although not separately controllable, heated seats for the second row, a couple USB-C charging ports, another 12-volt round, and another 120-volt right over here. You also get locking seat bottoms, so if you want to store anything in this underseat storage box, you can do that and lock it and secure it. Second row also gets cup holders on the console and cup holders right here. All right, let's check out what engine we have in this. Hang on. Okay, that's better. Now the tripod's at full extension, and God, that's hot. It's almost 100 degrees outside here in East Tennessee. Now that we got the tripod at full extension, let's talk about what's underneath the hood of this beast. So like I said in the previous video, your new Super Duty can be optioned with 4 different engines. First, you have your 6.8 liter naturally aspirated gasoline engine, producing 405 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. Next, you have the beast that's under this hood, the 7.3 liter Godzilla naturally aspirated V8 engine. This produces 430 horsepower, 485 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're seriously into towing and carrying things, your next step up is, of course, the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel V8 engine, producing 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Or you can get the highest option, which is the engine I had in the last tester I just reviewed, the high output 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel V8. This produces 500 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. Now, like I said a second ago, the first one of these that I tested that's already up on the channel a few weeks ago had the high output 6.7 liter Power Stroke, the 1,200 pound-feet of torque, and it is a very torquey engine. When I drove that truck and gave it some throttle, you could definitely feel the torque. Now this here, again, is a 7.3 liter Godzilla engine. Now this is a huge engine, but obviously being a gasoline engine, it doesn't put out the torque that your big diesels are going to put out. 485 is not a little bit of torque, but it's definitely no 1,050 to 1,200. And 2 options that I like to point out when I'm under the hood of these trucks is, first off, dual batteries. So you can see you got a battery over here and a battery over here. So you can option your Super Duties with dual batteries. The other thing you can option them with is dual alternators. Now the one I tested before did not have duals, it just had a single. But right here you can see this one has an alternator right here and an alternator right here. 2 alternators. So if you really need that kind of amperage, definitely option the dual alternator setup. And here's a better look at that 7.3 Godzilla, at least as good a look as you're gonna get under a modern engine bay. Enough talk, let's hear what this thing sounds like. All right, so this is definitely not going to be a cold start because I've been running the engine to try to keep the AC on so I don't die during this review. But still, let's see what this thing sounds like. Okay, so that was a quick overview of the inside and outside and some of the features that this truck offers. Like I said, I've already tested one of these out. It just wasn't a Tremor. And that video, I went into much more detail with the features inside and outside. So if you want to know those details, definitely check the description below. I'll put a link down there to that video so you can watch the full comprehensive review of the new updated 2023 Ford Super Duty. Now, let's talk about what makes this thing a Tremor. And I've got this list up on my phone because it's a pretty extensive list. This is directly from Ford's website. So a couple things to note about the Tremor package. It's only available on 4-wheel drive trucks, obviously. It's also only available with the 7.3 liter Godzilla and the high output 6.7 Power Stroke. So you're not going to get this thing with your 6.8 or your regular 6.7 liter diesel. Your Tremor package is also not available on your extended cab models or your cab and a half, but only on these big 4-door crew cab models. So what all comes on the Tremor version of your Ford F-250? On trucks equipped with a 7.3 liter Godzilla engine, you get the 4.30 electronic locking final drive ratio. On the high output 6.7s, you get a 355. Also, as we saw before, you do get these factory 35s, these Goodyear Wranglers, mounted on these 18-inch aluminum wheels. You get a different set of springs up here in the front, electronic locking rear diff, limited slip front differential. You get front and rear performance shock absorbers on this truck that have a Tremor logo on them. While we're under here, you can see Ford also has a skid plate under your gas tank and under your transfer case. Down the sides of the truck, you're also going to get off-road running boards or step boards, or you can option in these power deploying running boards right here that will fold back up into the truck, although they're not doing it right now. You also get the rock crawl mode we saw on the interior, as well as a trail control mode, that trail turn assist, And you get these cool looking Tremor decals on the beds, and like I showed you before, down on the shock absorbers. And like I mentioned before, you also get the slightly increased ride height over your standard F-250 Superduty. It is also worth noting that your Tremor off-road package is available on the XLT and Lariat versions of both the F-250 and F-350 trucks. It is not available on F-450, it is not available on any other trim of these trucks, and it is also not available on your dually F-350s, just your single wheels. All right, I think we've done enough talking about this truck. Let's get it on the road and see how it drives, and especially how it compares to the high output Power Stroke. All right, let's get out here and drive this beast. And I realize pretty much every time I review a large vehicle on this channel, I call it a beast, but man, this thing, I mean, if you look up beast in the dictionary, you're gonna see a picture of a truck like this. This thing is, I mean, it's massive. It's huge, but my God, it's still a cool truck. And first things first, just like I said in the last video, looking at this heads-up display in front of me, I love this heads-up display. It's vivid, it gives you good information. The way I've got it set right now, it's giving me the time, the speed limit, and the temperature that it's reading as 103 outside. I think that's because the sun's beating down on it. And it also gives me a couple of driver assistance features up in the top corners. Tells me if I'm coming up on a car in either lane next to me, that kind of thing. So really good heads-up display. I really do like this thing. Otherwise, just like with the other truck, comfort, this is a comfortable truck. These are really nice, well, comfortable seats. They feel good to sit in. They've got the cooling capability on a hot day like this, and let me tell you something, it is definitely needed. And it is definitely handy. All right, let's merge into traffic here and let's hear this thing accelerate. Oh yeah, you can definitely hear the power in that 7.3 and that Godzilla engine. It sounds pretty good with stock factory exhaust on it. I can only imagine if you hook up some nice aftermarket, maybe Flowmasters or Borla or Corsa or something like that, this thing could absolutely sing. One good thing I'm also noticing is the road noise is actually not bad at all. I'm not hearing really all that much more than the hum of tires on pavement. Now this does have more aggressive tires than your standard F-250 Super Duty is going to have. It does have the Goodyear Wranglers, but they don't make too much noise on the road. These tires don't, at least as far as I can feel, they don't seem to take away from the comfortable ride of this truck. Yeah, they may be more aggressive and on smaller rims, but they've also got that taller sidewall, which we all know is part of your suspension system on any vehicle and is definitely going to help aid you in a comfortable ride. Now that's not to say that you don't feel anything in this truck. This is a Super Duty truck. It's made to load up and carry stuff. So it's not like you're not feeling anything underneath you when you drive this truck. Once again, this is not a Rolls Royce. This is not a Bentley. It's a heavy duty hauling vehicle with some off-road capabilities. So kind of keep that in mind if you're wondering, well, what it's going to feel like underneath you as you're driving. I covered visibility in the last video. It's still great. It's the same truck, just with a different engine. This 7.3 feels like a pretty potent engine. Now, I did fail to mention when we were under the hood, the transmission. Now, it doesn't matter what you get in these trucks. It doesn't matter what level truck you get, what trim. It doesn't matter if it's the dual rear wheels or the singles. It doesn't matter what engine you get. You're getting the 10-speed automatic transmission in all of these trucks. The same transmission is the only option, but it feels like a decent transmission. Of course, it's got all these gears, 3 overdrives, which means this thing, you know, it'll get decent mileage for a truck this size anyways up on the highway in long cruising drives. Now, of course, the diesel's going to get a bit better because that's just what diesels do. Now I say all this, but at the same time, you got to think about what you're looking at here, and don't go into possibly purchasing one of these looking for fuel economy, because you're not going to get that. That's not what these things are about. These things are about pulling, and in this case, off-roading. The visibility is great. Right out over the hood, you got this big hood in front of you, this massive thing. Visibility at the side windows is good. You got those big side view mirrors for towing and for visibility, because this is a big truck. And if you need it, you've got the camera here on the screen with all the different views, and apparently it's showing me a rear view right now. That's not helpful at all. As big as this thing is, if you've never driven a truck this big before, you might be a little intimidated at first. But if you've driven large vehicles, it's not a big deal at all. But I will say, these things do sit up really high, and your Tremor sits up a couple inches higher. So you definitely feel like king of the road driving this thing. You definitely have a very commanding view over the road and the traffic around you. And it's just a great vehicle to cruise in. Like I said in the review on the diesel version, from what I've experienced driving these things just in these short test drives around town, I feel like I could get in this truck, set the cruise control, and just drive across the country and get out of this thing and not hurt one little bit, not mind it one little bit. You got the adaptive cruise and all the nice little driver aids to, you know, make it a little bit easier to take on those trips. And you got the cooled seats, and in the wintertime you got the heated seats, and you got the B&O sound system. All right, now talking about pricing, I've already discussed more detailed pricing in the previous review, but just talking about this F-250 Lariat with the Tremor off-road package, from what I see on the online configurator, you're gonna start right around the $70,000 in that neighborhood on this thing. Now this particular vehicle we're in today is spec'd up to $79,000, which it can be a hard pill to swallow, but at this point, we just come to expect that kind of pricing from pretty much any truck from any one of this caliber. You know, heavy duty trucks are just expensive now, but you are getting a lot for that $79,000. You're getting a lot of truck. That still may not justify the price of some people, but the truth still stands. You're getting a lot. You're getting a lot of power. You're getting a lot of great technology in this thing. You're getting a lot of good driver aids, safety features, and a nice ride. I feel like maybe this one is slightly harsher than the diesel one I drove that wasn't the Tremor. I'm not really sure on that one. It's very close in comparison though. It's actually not easy for me anyways to tell. They seem kind of close in comparison. All right, we're at a stop. We're gonna see what that power feels like. We're not gonna give it a lot because it is a brand new truck with a brand new engine, and we don't want to damage that. So we're just gonna see what it's like. I'm not gonna give it everything it's got, but we'll get a general idea here. So here we go. Okay, so you can definitely feel it's got the power, and it has the desire to accelerate much harder than I just did. You can definitely tell that when you push the gas on this thing. You can also tell, however, that you're not driving a high output diesel. When I push the accelerator in that diesel the same amount, I mean, you could feel it in your body, the torque that thing is putting out. 1,200 pound-feet of torque is definitely no joke. But 486 isn't bad either. All right, so let's wrap this thing up and head back to the dealer and talk about the final thoughts on this truck. My biggest final thought of all is I really like these trucks. You get a truck that you can pretty much call the total package. It's a comfortable cruising vehicle. You can carry a ton of weight. Of course, you can carry a lot more with a diesel. You get the off-road capability out of the Tremor off-road package we got here. You get a whole bunch of great tech in this thing with the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto. You get all the safety features and the driver aids that you come to expect out of the majority of modern vehicles. This thing really, I mean, this truck really is the total package. Now you're gonna pay for that total package. You're gonna pay handsomely for it, but it is still nonetheless the total package as far as trucks are concerned, as far as I'm concerned. And if you don't have to exceed that 20,000 pound towing capability, and you just want a big roaring gasoline engine, definitely get this 7.3 liter Godzilla engine. It sounds great and it does deliver plenty of power, but if you are looking to tow some serious weight, definitely look at that 6.7 high output Power Stroke. That thing's got the torque for days. Anyways, y'all, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Once again, this was not a full comprehensive review. If you want to see the comprehensive review of the F-250 Superduty for 2023, definitely hit that link in the description below to my first video where I go more in depth with the Lariat that I reviewed just a few weeks ago. But if you did like this video and you want to see what else I've got, definitely go back to the channel and see what else you like on that channel. And if you do like what you see on my channel, then consider subscribing to it. Hit that notification bell, turn your notifications on. Follow over on Facebook and Instagram at That Car Vlog channel. Those are two other great ways to get notified when videos go up on the channel. Once again, huge special thanks to the folks at Ted Russell Ford in Knoxville, Tennessee for making this video possible. These are great people to deal with, very friendly. They got a great selection. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and you have a good one.